Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So the time has finally come for us to get to the next wave of Mario Kart tracks in this Booster Course Pass DLC, and this fifth wave has 2 cups worth of some pretty great tracks. Along with that, we get 3 new characters joining the fold in Kamek, Wiggler, and everyone's favorite Speedo-wearing carnivorous plant, Petey Piranha. So to celebrate all of this, we definitely have to go through these 8 tracks and rank them from worst to best, in my opinion anyways. And with that, let's go! Starting things off at number 8, we have Sunset Wilds, which was originally a track in Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance. And while it has a really cool aesthetic and a fun soundtrack, Sunset Wilds suffers the same fate that a lot of the Super Circuit tracks that have made their way to this DLC do, in that it is a relatively simple track with not a ton going on. There are oil spills that'll slow you down, as well as a few shy guys dancing around the track that you need to navigate around, and towards the end of the track there are a few hills they can do some tricks off of, but beyond that, it's just a flat, simplistic track, and that's why it takes the bottom spot. Coming in at number 7, we have Los Angeles Laps from Mario Kart Tour, and the fact that this is at number 7 speaks to how good these tracks from this wave are for me. You start off on a boardwalk that will quickly turn into you drifting on the beach where you drive under piers and can even dip into the Pacific Ocean. From there you get on the traffic-free streets of LA, and honestly the fact that there isn't bumper-to-bumper traffic here really breaks my immersion. Before you know it, you're gliding over a baseball stadium and heading towards the final lap where you have to navigate on an oil field and eventually make your way back onto the roads of LA before finishing this track up. Now at number 6, we have Moonview Highway, which was one of those tracks I was always hoping would make its way from Mario Kart Wii to this DLC, but thought it was a bit of a long shot. But long shot no more because it's here, and it's long been one of my favorite traffic courses in the series. You drive up a ridge along the countryside, swerving through cars and trucks until you go through a toll booth, and then all of a sudden you're boosting through a bustling city at night, and all of this comes together to create a fun and frantic theme for a Mario Kart track. You also have to watch out for the bomb cars in the mix of all the traffic that'll explode on impact, adding another interesting factor to this traffic course. All in all, this is a really solid track, but ultimately I really had to split hairs with some of these rankings, so it only gets up to number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have Athens Dash, which was a track from Mario Kart Tour. Now a track based on the ruins of ancient Greece is a pretty cool theme and aesthetic, and I think this track definitely lives up to that potential. Like the Mario Kart Tour tracks that have come before it in this DLC, each of the 3 laps is a different variation of the track. The first lap will send you swerving through the seats of a coliseum and gliding up into a cave. The second lap has you descending back to the ground until eventually ascending up various ruined stairways, with the third and final lap having you glide through a small town until you eventually reach a ridge that you'll have to ascend and avoid getting crushed by giant rolling boulders that are bouncing down the ridge. Between the awesome soundtrack and cool theming, Athens Dash is an easy choice to make the top 5. Now at number 4, we have Koopa Cape, a classic Mario Kart track that was originally in Mario Kart Wii, but has made its way to every mainline Mario Kart game since then. So this is obviously someone's favorite track. And it is an awesome track. You start the race drifting along a cliffside, avoiding the various pitfalls, as well as avoiding bumping into the Goombas on the track, while doing tricks off of the ramps that are scattered on the course. This then leads to a foresty waterway that will speed you up if you stay on it, while navigating off the ramps and around giant Koopa shells. You then dive down a waterfall and into an underwater tunnel, where you can continue drifting on the waterway that'll speed you up, and hit the anti-gravity spinners to give yourself even more of a speed boost. Honestly, my only real issue with this track is that I dislike how they didn't bring back the electric beams in the underwater tunnel that would shrink your character if you hit them. It feels like that section of the track would benefit from having some sort of obstacle. Ultimately though, that's what keeps Koopa Cape from making the top 3 for me. Moving on to number 3, we have Vancouver Velocity from Mario Kart Tour. And this track just made me want to add Vancouver to my list of places I'd want to visit someday, because wow does it look cool. You start the track off making your way to a suspension bridge that will have you surrounded by pine trees and lights as you drift across this winding overpass, until you make your way to the end of it where you'll glide over a body of water and into the bright city streets. From there you'll cross a boardwalk and make your way into a peaceful little park, And before you know it, you're right in front of a giant stadium that once you enter will have you sliding on an ice rink where there will be Shy Guys skating all around. Again, the lap variation of these Mario Kart Tour tracks really spice up a track that's such a great base idea and theme, and it really pays off with a track as fun and as interesting as Vancouver Velocity. Now at the runner-up spot, we have Daisy Cruiser, originally from Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube. Now this might be a nostalgia pick, but this was one of my favorite Double Dash tracks, and seeing Daisy Cruiser finally make its way onto Mario Kart 8 is just really great. You start things off on the top deck of the cruiser and make your way to a pool with a few Goombas sitting on life preservers, just floating around and relaxing. From there you get to the dining hall where the tables are slipping from side to side of the room, only to make the various Yoshis, Shy Guys, and Toad sitting at these tables all the more nauseous than they probably already were. You then get to a hallway where you can either stay in the hallway and eventually make your way back to the top of the cruise ship, or you can drop down into the cargo area that's been filled with water and blast your way out to the top of the ship. And while I loved getting to revisit this track, there is one more I enjoyed a little bit more. And at the top spot, we have Squeaky Clean Sprint, which is a brand new track that's a part of this DLC. And what has been the trend with these brand new tracks, they knocked it out of the park yet again. We've all been shrunk down to Pikmin size and are now driving through a Mario-themed bathroom. You start off dipping into a filled sink bowl of water until you drift your way into a bathtub, either down the chain of sponges or just sink down and eventually do some tricks off of the bubbling bath bombs at the bottom of the tub. You then get sucked down a drain where you'll have to stick to the winding road until you get shot out and make your way to a gliding section where you fly over a toilet, which is the last place I think you'd want to get hit with an item, as that is a swirly doom I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. On later laps, when you're flying over the toilet, there's a splash of water shooting out of it that will take you to a higher level, where you'll then be able to take some other routes in the following lap. There are just so many different attentions to detail and so many fun ways to approach this track that for me, it's the top track of this wave. But those are just my rankings for these tracks. Comment down below how you'd rank them. Be sure to give this video a like, because one like equals one pair of Speedos I'll send to PD Piranha. And be sure to subscribe for more videos in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.